Welcome to the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast. Your family traditions, culture, and stories are your legacy. So is your health history. Join the All of Us research program and share your health information. Through research, your legacy can help build a healthier future for all of us.
Hello, everyone. This is Jarvis S. Scott with What's Happening in Birmingham. Today, I have a wonderful guest on the podcast today. I've been knowing this individual for, I don't want to count how many years because I don't want to give away our ages, but just say we met each other while we was teenagers. But however, this guy, as you all know about me, I'm very passionate about small businesses, getting to the capital, getting that funding, I hear the buzzword business credit. However, I know a lot of times people have found out about business credit via social media and YouTube and Googling. However, I want to bring a guy on that I know is a very renowned expert in this topic, not only in business credit, but in capital funding for your business. So Dominick, welcome on the podcast today.
All right. Hey, I appreciate that.
Great. So before we start, just give the audience just a little quick bio real fast.
Okay, yes. So so the interesting story is we've been in business now for 20 years. It'll be 21 years come November, but before, so now I told our ages now, but okay, but now but before that, I actually owned a contracting business. And it's mainly in painting contracting. So if you can imagine the guy that would come, paint your house, and if you have your in-laws come in, you want to make it look nice, or you're trying to sell your house. That was what I did and my crew did. But and it was good money, helping people with their houses. But just like with anybody else, I wanted to grow that business, right? And I figured, well, if I do bigger properties, I can make bigger money.
Yes.
So I went to, and at the time I was living in, even though I've been here since 04, originally from the Washington, D.C. area. And up there, when I was doing my painting contracting business, I was talking to the owners of these properties. If you can imagine, either some government agency or some large corporation would own these properties. And, what would be the first thing that you would ask them? What would you think would be the first thing you would ask them?
Who your clients?
Past clients? Well, for one, you were just thinking like how I can do business with you, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the first question that I asked them, well, first of all, it was like, well, Dominick, actually, you're talking to the wrong person. The first one, they said, as an owner, they said, well, you got to talk to the property management company. I'll talk to the property management company. Property management company would say, hey, you're too small. You need to go through this general contractor, this GC. Mm-hmm. And so I finally found out who the right person to talk to. But the first question I asked them was, how do I get paid, right? Isn't that what you want to know when you're going to do business with anybody? Mm-hmm. So they told me, well, Dominick, they said, well, we'll pay you when we get paid. And I thought that was crazy.
Oh, yeah. I hear that a lot.
And then I was like, and then it was like, well, you got to send this little piece of paper called an invoice. If you send this by the 20th of the month, we'll give you the funds 30 days after that, right? And I thought that was crazy. I was like, man, you guys have all the money. Because when I would work with you as an individual for your home, right? And you say, well, Dominick, before I pay you, you touch this up, we have touched that up, me and my crew. And then we get a check or cash or whatever, a credit card or whatever, right then and there. But this crazy thing with invoicing, when they say pay me in 30 days, that was just foreign to me. I thought that was just crazy. So I can you imagine go back to your crew and just say, hey, can you guys wait 30 days to get paid? They would have looked at you crazy, right? They would looked at me, you crazy. So I'm scrambling trying to figure out how to get access to capital because I'm like, I need to get some kind of line of credit or something to be able to pay these guys. And so I went to the bank, unfortunately, and that's kind of how we first met, right? Or going, talk to the bank. And then obviously they told me no. It's like Dominic, for various reasons. And I was looking around for another finance company, and I found a finance company that does similar to what we do now. And they said, well, Dominic, if you have a credit-worthy customer, we will advance the funds. So basically, this invoice, which will end up being accounts receivable, an actually asset once you bill them, right? They said, well, Dominic, we'll give you cash now on this. So, and just bear with me. I'm going to talk a bit about how this works in the business credit and that kind of stuff. But they said, we'll give you cash for this now instead of you having to wait later on. So what ended up happening was I was just like, hey, I would talk to all my buddies and I was just like, check this out. As long as you have a credit-worthy customer, that the finance company, they'll advance you instead of waiting 30 days. They'll give you money the same day or next day so you can make payroll and then you can just keep going. And obviously I thought that was the greatest thing since sliced bread. So I was referring the finance company, all my contracting buddies, and the finance company was like, wow, you sending us so much business, we'll pay you a referral fee. And you know what? I was making more money with those referral fees than I was in my contracting business.
Oh, wow.
And I said, I'm in the wrong business. But here's a great thing, because when you work with business owners to help market them, or you work with them to kind of protect them and their families with with the life insurance stuff that you do, it's not just about that one thing. You're helping the business owner succeed, but behind the business owner there's employees, so you're also helping employees, and then you're also helping the community, because like the local football team, t-ball team, who they hitting up for money for t-shirts, right? The local small business. So I thought we can provide so much more impact by working with the small business owner than just getting on the ladder and sweating and painting the house. So so that's why I was like, this is where I could provide more impact. So the next question would probably be, so how does that have to do with business credit? Well, obviously it's a type of funding, and for those that are not, since this is a podcast, I want you guys to see a website that you go to. There's a website called the Small Business Financial Exchange. If you go to sbfe.org, okay? And when you go to that website, it'll be like some multicolored information there. If you scroll to the bottom of the screen, and for those people that listen to this, if you're driving, please don't do this. But when you pull up, we go down to the bottom of the screen, you'll see different financial institutions. See like American Express, Bank of America, Capital One, American Express, and you'll see our logo in between Truist Bank and Wells Fargo Bank. And so I showed this to this lady one time. He's like, well, hey, that's good for you, but how does that help me? What she said. Right.
Me.
And I said, well, hey, I ain't mad at you. And so I said, well, let's quickly explain. So, and you probably know this this person. So this lady came to me, and she has a very successful business here in the state. But at the time, similar to my situation, the she was like, Dominic, she got a building downtown. So basically, when you go at the bus stop, a lot of time you see this plastic metal thing that you stand under, or like the benches, they'll have like the advertisers. So she designs those and so forth, right? And she's like, and her biggest customers are usually municipalities and so forth. And so she was like, Dominic, help, help, help. And then of course I was like, what? But also she was like, I need, the city is taking 30, 45, 60 days to pay me. I got this building, got all these materials, got, more importantly, I got this payroll, I got all this stuff I got to pay. Can you give me a line of credit? And similar to my situation, I said, well, great. I'll help you and provide you line of credit, receivable line of credit, because I knew the city was going to pay. They were going to pay slow, but I knew they're eventually going to pay. But more importantly, I was looking. What do you think was the first thing that I looked at when I was looking at her company for financing? What do you think was?
Bank statements.
Well, yeah, bank statements is one. I was also looking at her financials too, and I noticed her financials were good for she had a good accountant, CPA, that put everything together for the purposes of paying taxes. But I asked her, I was like, do you do job costing? And she was like, and I was like, job costing, like where you have like an income statement for each job. So like if you got a job here in Birmingham or Atlanta or Mobile or Montgomery, each of these jobs have its own income statement. You do an estimate, and then you have income and expenses associated with that job. And she's like, and so I was like, well, let me help you with my team, and we'll help you kind of put together, that so that you have the ability to improve your profitability for financials. I remember I had this other retail company come to us. They had 4 different locations, right? In the same situation, I was looking at the financials, all their income statements, all on the same thing, and I was like, how do you know which location is most profitable? I guess I get my point of sale, but like you got to be able to push a button on your financials so I can see. And so I helped them. I was like, so what we did was, and here's what ended up happening after we did that. They 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 sold 2 locations.
Okay.
We had to close one down because that one was bringing all the profits down for that one. That was killing all the profits. And then they kept the most profitable location. And now, since then they bought more locations. But now they have the foundation, kind of like what you do with the life insurance. You got to have that foundation so that you can kind of parlay that. But all right, back to Lady. So we have been financing her, and then the bank called her and was like, hey, your bank ratings improved. And all that means is the more cash, because we've been funding, the more cash that goes in her account, the better it looks, right? And she was like, okay, well, that's great. My bank rating. Okay. and then she's like, and then the banker was like, can I pull your business credit report? And she was like, well, yeah, I know what my personal credit score looks like. I'm not so clear on my business score looks like. But that website that I sent you to, on the top of that, you'll see this thing that says risk management solutions. Okay. The risk management solution, if you go down to the bottom of that screen, what you'll see is the 4 biggest credit bureaus. Okay. You got Dun & Bradstreet, you got Experian, Equifax, and you got LexisNexis. Most people don't know about LexisNexis, but like that's kind of the foundation of it's a lot of attorneys use it on, you know, what is your entity's name and that kind of stuff. It kind of verifies that information. It's kind of third party validation. The other bureaus are more so on, you know, your credit profile anyway. Well, anyway, so the banker pull her credit profile is like, wow, your business credit score has improved. And she's like, well, great. And then the banker's like, well, can we look at your financials? And she's like, well, yeah, that's fine. And we have been working on her, improving her financial profitability and stuff. And so the banker's like, okay, wow. So your bank ratings improved, your business credit score is improved, and your profitability is improved. Can we finance you now? And then she was like, well, where were you 6 months ago when I first asked you, right?
Yeah.
So what ended up happening, we actually we sent her back to the bank. You know, the bank paid us off, and we you know, I was just like, sometimes, you know, maybe your credit profile is here, even though you're trying to be here. And when I say credit profile, I'm not talking about just your business credit score. I'm talking about like your whole picture, your financials. You know, you got to have a good accountant on your team, and all, you know, all this stuff to make you look good, to be attractive. You know, and then so the bank just paid us off, and you know, she's doing well now and doing really well. But so I want to make sure that people have some to some to-dos. I can give them some value, you know, after this thing. But like, so obviously those four credit bureaus are where you, where you need to be registered. And a lot of times you can get registered. Some of that is based on if you have a business bank account, you truly separating yourself. You know, you have your company listed 411. You know, a lot of times people don't have like business phones anymore, but there's like voice over IP phones. I'll be honest with you, it's better. I would, even if you have a separate cell phone that's in your business name, you can list that on your company, you know, or there's a lot of voice over IP phone systems where you can get for like less than 30 bucks a month, and you can get those listed, and you can have those phones forwarded to your funds. I mean, to your cell phone. Or you know, like we have 800 numbers too, but you want to, but these are the kind of stuff that LexisNexis picks up on your profile, that you know, you can see. And then so one of the things that we do is, so when I was a painting contractor, besides labor, what was my second biggest expense, would you say?
Besides labor,
Yeah.
employees. I mean,
But
employees.
besides employees, right?
Material.
Paint, right? Paint.
Material.
Yeah,
Yeah.
paint materials, right? So one of the things that you want to do, and this is what I did with like some of the other contractors and companies I work with. If I'm like funding them with lines of credit and that kind of stuff, and we also do some coaching on this too. Like we have you know, the people invest in our system, and then we help them build a credit profile. But like, so for us, painting, and you guys may already have this, but your vendor accounts is a great way to start to build credit, right? Like maybe you know, like some people may like get a Home Depot card, a Lowe's card, or whatever like that to
Sam's
start.
Club.
Sam's card, and you maybe you have that in your personal, maybe your personal guarantee in the beginning, and then over time you're building it. But like, so one of the things we do a lot of times with contractors we're funding is they'll try to, maybe they're on COD, meaning that they have to pay cash when they buy their stuff. And we're funding them. Sometimes we'll do what's called an assurance letter to their vendor and say, hey, we're financially backing this company. Can you give them terms, you know, instead of them paying COD, can you give them terms so
Mm-hmm.
that, and then and if per their agreement, we'll pay you, you know, the for the materials and stuff like that to ensure that you get paid. And then by doing that, we're paying, helping them pay their account for a few months. And then after a period of time, they see that the account is good, then you know, then they just put that account solely in their business name instead of being on COD. And that's a good way to build it. And sometimes you can negotiate that, right? You know, you just say, hey, I'm going to buy a lot of stuff from you. You know, I need you to pay, you know, I need you to open this account because I'm going to send you a lot of business. You know, there's a lot of places where you can go, starting off like Quill and some of these other places to kind of, you know, sometimes you can get like I was saying, like some of these phone companies and systems to kind of to report on your company, and then just build it like your personal credit. You know, you can't expect to get a mortgage on your house if you never had maybe a car note or a small little personal credit card. You know, you got to start somewhere. But yeah, that is the key that we've seen. You know, that's how I built my company's credit. That's how we help a lot of other companies' credit. You know, it's not rocket science. You got to start small, pay your bills on time, and then keep building it up. And then over time you have an opportunity to, you know, like we have a bank that will give you a line of credit without a personal guarantee, but you got to follow all those steps, right? You can't just go up in there and be like, hey, here I am. Just you got to build, we give them we 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 give them some credit with us, we report that,
Mm.
they get other cards, and then slowly we build up. We've had people buy vehicles solely in their company's name and that kind of stuff over time. So that's basically, how it works.
Now, I'll add two things. And one thing I do want to ask you is I'm a statement and a question I want to ask you. First thing I would tell people too is before you start your business, this is just Jarvis, whatever, advice, whatever, make sure you go out. This is very popular these days. Get a virtual address for your business. Because I'm telling you, that is like, I call it like the business birth certificate. Because if you don't have that correct, that is like a red flag. What I've known for lenders and everything, if you got your home address and just, there's plenty of places around town that do it, anytime mailbox, free, olive branch, um, um, Forge that does it here in town.
Here's been my experience on that.
Uh-huh.
So you sometimes you're better off. Let's just say
Mm-hmm.
let's just say you're a catering business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times you have to operate out of like one of those kitchens or whatever to get in
Mm-hmm.
order to get your certain license.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you're better off, like, or even if you want to lease some space out from your church, sometimes you can get a separate like suite number or something like that.
Yeah.
That I some of the challenges I've seen people have with some of the virtual offices.
Mm-hmm.
So many people get the virtual offices, some people don't pay their bills. Like, okay, so one of the things we do, we have a client right now.
Mm-hmm.
He has this really large contract with CACI, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times CACI got $1 billion contract with the federal government. His is 8 million. And and with these government contracts, you have to list with get these various government teller sites, and they have to verify you personally as well as your business. One of the challenges I see with when doing that is when these suite, if especially if it's the same suite number there, they're like, is your there sometimes they'll get you mixed up with another company.
Oh, I know what you're
That
talking about. Yeah.
same suite. So you're sometimes you're better off, like if you have another business owner and you can get a different suite. So sometimes because sometimes these like mailboxes and that kind of stuff, it's better if you can have another business location where it's, you know, where it's like another partner owns a business there and they'll give you like a suite in their business. That's what I've seen has been the best.
Okay.
And you know, and it, obviously, like you said, it looks better to have a separate location from your home address. Um, I I will say, I'm I've seen some people be successful building their business credit with their personal home address because a lot of times they're there. But it's best if you can have a different location, you know, like a different physical location where you can actually collect mail there. And they'll like and they'll like maybe their address is XYZ,
Mhm.
and you can add like a suite number to it, you
Okay.
know. And sometimes you may have to, and there's a way to register that suite number with the local US Postal Service.
Okay, I ain't thought about that. Now, the question I was going to ask you, because it's been statement, but the question I was going to ask you, what set credit score um do a person need to have before they start on their personal credit
On the
before they
personal
start?
credit.
Yeah.
All right. So like we also fund real estate. Our minimum credit score on the real estate side is a 650, a mid score. So you can have one higher and one lower, or they all average 650. I mean, I just went to the bank earlier, you know, some of them will say 680, you know. Um, the I will say this, it's kind of like a matrix, right? Between years in business, personal credit,
Mm-hmm.
and that bank rating that I was telling you about,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know, like I've seen people who've been in business for 10 years, but maybe
Mm-hmm.
their score is like maybe a 670 or 660
Mm-hmm.
because they have that history in revenue. Like they're strong in like credit history of business and
Mm-hmm.
cash flow that they've gotten what they need. If you're a startup, you know, and you don't have history, and you don't have cash flow, then you know the only thing that you could probably control is your personal credit score. So I would say having 680 or better would be kind of like the one I would suggest.
Okay, and then let's kind of go because I'm like you said, we have a variety of viewers, but let's just say a viewer just starting a business less than 3 years. Do you think they should go for business credit cards
Well,
first?
I just talked to a bank, local bank, and they just said we only need 2 years of history.
2 years.
So
Okay.
yeah, I here's one thing I will say, and I put this, if you follow me on LinkedIn, I talk about this cool stuff, you know, that I just see over time, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so obviously, but you could, if you can buy another business, do that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because you're buying
Yeah, because
history.
that old EIN.
You got you that company's already seasoned.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes they have revenue, and you know, there's there's individuals that are the baby boomer generation that have businesses and they're looking to retire.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably, and I've seen this happen before, that people bought the business was almost zero down.
Mm-hmm.
They've carried the note of the business.
Mm-hmm.
They just wanted someone to take it off their hands pay them, a monthly payment, like an annuity, because sometimes the baby boomers they're retired, but they're not ready to have this lump sum of money that they have to have a big taxable event, right? You can convince them to say, well, hey, I'll give you a little bit a month every month. Then you could parlay that and get lines of credit and all that kind of stuff that way. I mean, I would, if I would have started all over, that's what I would have done. I would have bought a business that had all this history instead of toiling and trying to build it myself. That's what that would be my suggestion. But if you're going to start from scratch, you're like, hey, I just got this great idea. I want to do my own thing. Like I said before, work with your vendors, get some small, vendor accounts. If you have to do COD, pay it, and then, hey, just say, hey, I've been religiously paying really well. I need, give me a net 30 account. Maybe they have to start at net 10 or 15 first, and then build up to net 30 account. And then you can parlay that, and you can use that to get credit from other places. I don't know if I answered your question, but
you answer it. Well, I don't want to hold you too long, but one thing I do want before we kind of close things out is one of the reasons why I want to bring Dominick on and what he was talking about earlier is that, okay, my background in banking, you cover banking, every bank has different criteria.
they do.
And one of the reasons why we offline conversation we had, and you was telling me, and I thought about that, I was like, yeah, if you know what the underwriters are looking for, and that's one of a great sweet spot I feel like your company provides is because you know what they're looking for. So it's like you said, that perfect profile that you get no red flags. So can you kind of tell the clients about,
So what I'll just say, we have a process, we call it a business fund analysis. So it's like, so just how we came up to that. So that Small Business Financial Exchange, the SBFE.org that I mentioned. So that's an association of obviously other lenders, right? We go at once a year. We all get together to have like these chief credit officers of these big banks. I'm talking like some big banks. What the cool thing I've been privileged to do is some of the banks have given me their underwriting criteria, like their spreadsheets and stuff, and we compile it together in one proprietary system we call a business fund analysis. So it's kind of like a financial stress test, or if you were going to the doctor and like, I want the optimal health, right? I want you to check me out and let me know what I need to do before, so I can live the longest as possible. Well, they're going to send you down to the nurse's office, check your temperature, take your blood test, do all this stuff. And before they prescribe, if you have a good doctor, hopefully they're going to do all that before they prescribe something.
Yeah.
Because typically you go to the bank, whatever they're going to tell you is either you qualify or you don't. That's it. They're not, and if you do qualify, they're not going to tell you why. If you don't qualify, if you get a good banker, hopefully they'll tell you. But we have this system, and we use it as free that we give if for any client that we fund, it's free. If they want to use it to go to a different financial institution, we just ask for a small deposit for that. And but that would be, I mean, or find someone else, or find a good banker. I mean, even if you want to work with me or Jarvis, find a good banker that you can develop a relationship, and then over time they'll tell you. I mean, like if they'll tell you. Obviously, the first place you want to go to is where you have your deposit relationships, but like I said, that wasn't available to me that one time. So like over time, I had to prove myself and then go back to the bank. But yeah, definitely follow us, because both of us, we put out free information, that you can glean from. I'm actually trying to put together this system where people can go and just watch different videos and go step by step on here's what you need to do in order to do that profile. And we actually have a class called the Keys for Business.com, and then /masterclass, that people can also go to, or they can just follow me on social media, or Dominick Wallace .com or whatever.
Well, give them the
But yeah.
phone number.
Oh yeah. So for those local, you can just call me at 205-823-9530. And then, most people don't use 800 numbers, but we have 800 number too.
Okay.
But that's be the best number to just give us a jingle, and I mean, we'll tell you straight up, if we're not a good fit, I'd rather tell you straight up, hey, or send you to somebody else that can help you, you know.
Well, I'm gonna put those links that we was talking about. Of course, we're recording the Zoom as we talk. On the screen right now. But Dominic, thank you for coming on. I'm gonna bring you back on for future segments so we can kind of dive kind of deep into those individual topics. Um, Everybody just in this day and time, it's all about the capital's there. Just the information is the thing you got to get. So once you learn information, it's half the battle.
Can I tell everybody
Sure,
about the Keys for Business Summit
sure,
that
yeah,
you're going to be on? So
yeah.
I asked Jarvis to, for some of his marketing knowledge and that kind of stuff he's going to share, and how he's built, like a list of 25,000 people and that kind of
Mm-hmm,
stuff. We're going to
mm-hmm,
talk about so for the keys. So we have this one gentleman, him, as well as this other gentleman who just sold a business for $1 billion. And we're going to have some other really people, VC, angel investor people on there as well.
mm-hmm.
But the keysforbusiness.com, just register there, and then you'll be on the email list for when that comes on. We'll look to have it sometime in November. That's where we had it in years past.
Okay, so what's the website for Wallace Capital Funding?
Oh, just wallacecapitalfunding.com.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just wallacecapitalfunding.com.
Okay, all right. Well, Dominic, thanks for coming on today. I always get to catch up with your brother. And I'm so proud of success. And I know you told me your story, how you started, because I've been doing this forever, but it's a great story how you did it. And like I always tell people, sometimes your entrepreneur journey just takes different left turns, right turns, up, north, south, east, west, figure out what you doing. You was like, that bank was like, man, I'm seeing them. They said, well, we're gonna pay you a referral fee. You like,
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you have some story for days too. But yeah, I mean, always what I've learned is there might not be that one person that gives you that one thing, but on your entrepreneurial journey, so it's kind of like when you went to school, it was maybe one influential teacher, but
Mm-hmm.
you didn't learn calculus without your first grade teacher telling you how to add
Yeah,
1, 2, 3. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So you have all these people, you have Jarvis, you have all these people that are going to help you on your journey. Just don't get frustrated on just that. Well, that one person didn't, you know, it's a learning. This whole entrepreneurial journey is a learning experience.
yeah. It's definitely a learning experience. I'll tell you that. Well, Diamond, thank you for coming on today. Thank you all for watching. Please check out what's happening Birmingham.com for more interviews. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out the audio version of this on Apple Podcasts. Thank you all weekend and have a great day. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you for watching the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast. Please check out our website, app, or subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest videos today.